Hey guys, time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. Let's jump right in and talk about what happened today. So Rafa spent all day again on the 59 bus. So this time he was working on fitting the rear hatch, the engine lid, and ran into some issues with that. Let me squeeze back here. So again, this bus had some kind of metalwork issues on it, and so what happened was the rear deck lid was not closing, and so basically it's hard for me to lift this with a broken wrist, but sorry guys. The bottom lip of the engine lid, so basically where my finger is, that lip right there, was pretty much hitting this lip right here by a decent amount, like actually a quarter inch in some areas. So just puzzled over what to do, and finally Rafa did a combination of things. He slotted these holes a little bit on the apron and did a little bit of metal working magic here and there, and finally got it low enough, and lo and behold, it now closes fine. So just one of those things that you run into on a restoration project like this. Maybe they didn't do a good job of test fitting some panels when some of the metal work was done, and so things just weren't lining up. And then we, as the guys doing the final assembly, we're actually putting things together that maybe weren't test fit, and we find out they don't actually fit. So these projects can be full of surprises, but at the end of the day, Rafa was able to get it to work, and he had a little bit of help from one of the bodywork guys next door and another guy, and we all kind of put our heads together. I had some ideas that I think they ended up using, so yeah, kind of a joint effort, a bunch of us putting our heads together, and some elbow grease mostly on Rafa's part, and it's all good now. So yeah, unfortunately not very exciting to look at or talk about, but this is kind of a reality of doing these kind of restorations. But what is fun to talk about and look at is the Deluxe trim. So yesterday I think I mentioned that Rafa went and drilled the holes to mount these, and he went ahead and mounted them today. So they look super, super good. I love it. And once this bus gets the rest of the Deluxe trim, which runs along here, for those of you that aren't familiar with these, big aluminum strip that runs along here with a colored strip in the middle, it's going to look amazing. So yeah, lots of struggling on these projects, but in the end, you just know this thing's going to look unbelievable. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Like I said, not too exciting to talk about trying to get an engine lid to fit, but again, reality of these projects sometimes. So moving on to my day, as you probably noticed from the thumbnail, if you saw it, I made some pretty significant progress on putting the 40 horse for the 59's twin, aka the 61, together. Yeah, made some really good progress. I had to go and remove some powder coating from some areas that shouldn't have really been powder coating as far as things fitting together, like the two halves of these pulleys where they go together. There was a lot of powder coating, and it wasn't really in an area where I could use a Dremel tool. So there I am with an X-Acto knife kind of scraping powder coating. So the owner of this bus had powder coating done by a shop he uses. Our shop is usually pretty knowledgeable. Our shop, the shop that we use, Americoat, actually here in Orange, they do a lot of Volkswagen parts. Dude, those guys know where to mask these things off. These guys, maybe they didn't, because there was that. There was a few other areas where the powder coating was just thick. There were some holes in some of the tin that are tapped like these that they didn't plug. So I think actually yesterday I went through and ran a tap through all the tapped holes on here. Much easier to do it when the tin is all off the engine than trying to, monkey around with a tap when it's all assembled and everything's in the way. So usually we go through and tap all those holes, or at least check them before we start assembly, because again, much easier to do when the engine is apart. But yeah, so most of it together. I have the kind of forward parts of the exhaust. So remember, on a Volkswagen, this is actually the back of the engine toward us. I know it's kind of a weird, seems counterintuitive, but we actually call this the back of the engine. We call this the front of the engine. Kind of awkward, but anyway. So we have the sort of front side of the exhaust, which is the heater system for these. The front side, which is, or excuse me, the back side here, which is the muffler, we don't have. So I'm trying to see what the owner wants us to do. If he wants us to just pick one up, or and he was talking about maybe ceramic coating it. So I don't know. But in the meantime, got about most everything else I could done on this motor today without, again, having the whole exhaust system. So very happy with how it's coming out. The gloss black, which again is not what we usually use, but looks amazing. Really liking it. And yeah, that was pretty much my day. It's a long, slow process putting this together, especially when you have really nice powder coating. You gotta just go really slow, take your time, because this stuff, it does actually scratch pretty easy, and with something this glossy, it shows real bad. So really going careful and slow assembling a motor like this to keep the powder coating pristine. It's part of the process though. And that was pretty much it. So I should mention that tomorrow there will not be an episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialists. My wife's birthday is a little later this week, and so I'm taking tomorrow off, and we are going to Disneyland. We're season pass holders there, so my wife and son go pretty often. Tomorrow I'm going to take the day off and join them. So I will see you guys again on Friday. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in a couple days. Thanks. Bye.